Ever since Kansas City's defense shut down the Baltimore Ravens, many people have started looking at it as one of the more premier defenses across the league. And while I do think they're great, the fact is I also thought the Ravens shot themselves in the foot, specifically by moving away from the rush way too early. For instance, in this game, their running backs only had 6 carries for the entire game. Even when you factor in Lamar Jackson running it as well as the wide receivers, they only carried it 16 times in this game, but they were averaging 5.06 yards a carry. This is all to say, I believe the Ravens played into exactly what the Chiefs wanted them to do. Early in this game, they loaded the box and really dared the Ravens to beat them with the pass. And well, the Ravens just played right into that, started throwing it a ton. Lamar Jackson threw it 37 times in this game, and I believe if San Francisco plays into the hands of the Chiefs, much like the Ravens did by not relying on their core identity, which is running the ball to set up the play action, they're going to suffer the same loss the Ravens did. But in this video, I believe I can show how San Francisco can effectively attack this Chiefs defense. Starting with how aggressive the Chiefs were in stopping the run. On this play, they have 5 down linemen as well as 3 backers, all designed to stop this Ravens run. Nonetheless, thanks to good blocking by a pulling guard and the fullback, the Ravens were able to be successful. And this is the key. Despite facing fronts like this, San Francisco must remain dedicated to the run game, because if they move away from it too early, I believe this offense will become one-dimensional like the Ravens did. But more so, they can also be successful despite facing fronts like this. They have talented guys like George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, Kyle Juszczyk that can all be adequate blockers. Well, more than adequate. They'll drive you all the way into the Gatorade stand. When we're looking back on the Lions game, for instance, you can tell they're also sold out to stop the run in the second half. Nonetheless, Kyle Shanahan decided to go back to his basics, which is running the ball. And like I mentioned, they have great players in Kyle Juszczyk, who is pulling, as well as George Kittle, to set up this nice running lane for Christian McCaffrey. And even though Christian McCaffrey was only able to pick up 8 here, when you have aggressive fronts like this, if they do manage to get behind your backers, say goodbye, because that running back is probably going to score. In addition to that, having such an aggressive lineup to stop the run leaves you susceptible to play action, especially when the running game gets going. Like here, right after they have that big run from Christian McCaffrey, they go over the top with a bigger play to Deebo Samuel. Speaking of the wide back himself, I believe this is really what challenges this Chiefs defense. Here, for example, you can see how Stephon Diggs gets the handoff from Josh Allen, and it's kind of a redesign, but you could easily do that with Brock Purdy, who burned this Lions team with his legs in the second half. And Purdy may once again have the opportunity to get going on the ground against the Chiefs. Both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson had success on the ground. And while I'm sure many people are going to point out, Brock Purdy isn't Lamar Jackson, the fact is he's still a pretty athletic quarterback, and if you give him wide open lanes like these, he's going to have success. Purdy also has his weapons to distribute to, and I think attacking the edges of this Chiefs defense, especially on the ground, outside screens, really getting your balls into the hands of guys like Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey will be key. Despite the Chiefs selling out to stop the run so aggressively throughout these playoffs though, they also have been susceptible to runs right up the middle, to the right guard side, the left guard side, basically wherever teams can go if they have the blocking right. On this play, for instance, the Bills have perfect blocking on the down linemen as well as getting up to the second level, which allows this back to explode through for a pretty nice gain of 15. And even though I'm sure the national media still doesn't think of Christian McCaffrey as an inside runner, since he's arrived in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he's been the complete back. And we've seen him power through not just in situations like this, but on goal line situations and run over defensive linemen. So while I'm sure many people will be talking about Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes all week, which one's better, I believe the key in this game for both teams will be how effective they are running the ball. Is Isaiah Pacheco just going to run wild on this defense, or will Christian McCaffrey be doing that to the Chiefs? And this will be the deciding factor. If Kyle Shanahan goes out there and dedicates himself to his identity that he's established throughout the year, which is establishing the run and setting up the play action, I do think that's a recipe for success. And Kyle Shanahan, as well as Brock Purdy, could be the reason why San Francisco brings home number 6. But if they fail to establish the run, Kyle Shanahan goes out there and has a pass-happy game plan, they'll see the same results as the Ravens saw, which is a loss. But these are just my thoughts, and I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.